Hello, this is Frank Mealy from HeartlandDiaryUSA.com, bringing you news every conservative can use. Subscribe to my YouTube channel to stay up to date. Well, it was inevitable that the impeachment of Donald Trump would turn to the question of Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, Burisma, and Ukrainian corruption. A question from Senator Rick Scott of Florida gave White House attorney Eric Herschmann a chance to put all of it in perspective and to unload on Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and Adam Schiff and the entire impeachment scam. Enjoy.
The question is from Senator Scott to the White House counsel. House managers claim that the Biden-Burisma affair has been debunked. What agency within the government or independent investigation led to the debunking?
Mr. Chief Justice, members of the Senate, there is no evidence in the record about any investigation, let alone debunked, sham, discredited, or as Manager Jeffries told you tonight, phony. The House managers haven't cited any evidence in the record because none exists. A couple of days ago, I read to you a quote and statements from Vice President Biden dealing with corruption in Ukraine. What I didn't tell you was he made those statements before the Ukrainian parliament directly. He spoke about the historic battle of corruption. He spoke about fighting corruption, specifically in the energy sector. He spoke about no sweetheart deals. He said oligarchs and non-oligarchs must play by the same rules. Corruption siphons away resources from the people. It blunts economic growth, and it affronts the human dignity. Those were Vice President Biden's words. So the real question is this. Is corruption related to the energy sector in Ukraine run by a corrupt Ukrainian oligarch who was paying our Vice President's son and his son's business partner millions of dollars for no apparent legitimate reason, while his father was overseeing our country's relationship with Ukraine, merit any public inquiry, investigation, or interest? The answer is yes. And simply by saying it didn't happen is ridiculous. And with all due respect to the House managers inciting to our children, the message to our children, especially when you're overseeing a corruption and trying to root it out in another country, is to make sure your children aren't benefiting from it. That's what should be happening. Not to sit there and say that it's okay. The House managers don't deny that there's a legitimate reason to do an investigation. They just say it was debunked, it's a sham, it's illegitimate, but they don't tell you when it happened. And we all remember the email that Chris Hines sent. Keep this in mind. He is the stepson of the then Secretary of State, John Kerry. He sends an official email to the State Department, to the Chief of Staff, to John Kerry, and his special assistant. The subject is Ukraine. There's no question when you look at that email that it's a warning shot to say, I don't know what they're doing, but we're not invested in it. He's taking a giant step back. And think about the words, and remember the video that we saw about Hunter Biden. What did he say? I'm not going to open my kimono. I'm not going to open my kimono when he was asked how much money he was making. In 1 month alone, Hunter Biden and his partner made almost as much as every senator and congressman, just in 1 month alone, what you earn in a year. And you don't think that merits inquiry? Does anyone here think, when they say it's a debunked investigation that didn't happen, that we wouldn't remember if there was testimony of Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, Secretary of State John Kerry, his stepson, their business partner, his chief of staff, and his special assistant? How can you tell the American people it doesn't merit inquiry when our vice president's son is supposedly doing this for corporate transparency in Ukraine? He's going to oversee the legal department of a Ukrainian company? He's going to help them, and if you look at his statement that I read to you beforehand, there's another part of it from October of 2019. If you want to know whether he thought it dealt with outside of Ukraine in just the Burisma, he says, he was advising Burisma on its corporate reform initiatives, an important aspect of fueling Burisma's international growth and diversity. And listen to this statement by Hunter Biden's attorney. Vibrant energy production, particularly natural gas, was central to Ukraine's independence and to stemming the tide of Vladimir Putin's attack on the principles of a democratic Europe. Do you think he understood when he was getting the millions of dollars what his father was doing? The only problem is that statement didn't come out till October of 2019. Only when the news story started to break, only when the House managers raised these issues did people start to talk about it. Tell us where we saw Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, John Kerry testify about it. Tell us where you did it when you did your impeachment hearings. I don't remember seeing that testimony. I don't remember seeing the bank records. We put the bank records in front of you, and the people are entitled to know what exactly was going on.
Thank you, counsel.